Let's head to West Africa now, where it is being reported that Niger's ousted President Mohamed Bazoum is being held in a secret location by the junta that seized power in the West African state. This is after Bazoum's attempt to escape failed. At the same time, withdrawal of French troops from the nation is nearly half complete. Here's a report.
Talk about bad luck. The Niger military junta is claiming that it prevented the escape of ousted President Mohamed Bazoum from captivity. The junta has been holding him in prison ever since its July 26 coup, ignoring international calls for his release.
This failed attempt would become a plan conceived as follows. Phase 1, escape to a first recovery point near the presidential palace to be reached by an unmarked vehicle. Phase 2, this vehicle would be driven to a plain in the Chanjare district on the northern outskirts of the town of Niamey. Phase 3, from this plain, a move would be made to 2 helicopters belonging to a foreign power supposed to infiltrate them into Nigeria.
As punishment, Bazoum is now being held in a secret location by the junta that seized power in the West African state. Denying accusations that the president had tried to escape, his lawyers are now demanding that the junta show proof that the president and his wife and son were alive.
For the time being, the main perpetrators and some of their accomplices have been arrested. The public prosecutor has already opened an investigation. The situation is under control.
Niger's coup was one of the 5 that have swept West Africa's central Sahel region in 3 years, leaving a vast band of arid terrain south of the Sahara Desert under the control of military rulers. Like elected presidents in neighboring Mali and Burkina Faso, Bazoum was pushed out in part because of mounting insecurity caused by an Islamist insurgency that has killed thousands in the region and which the military said it would be able to contain better than a civilian government. Bazoum's party and family members say he has had no access to running water, electricity or fresh goods, prompting condemnation from the country's former Western allies. Meanwhile, following weeks of pressure from the military officers who seized power in July, France last September agreed to withdraw its troops based in Niger by the end of the year, marking a definitive breakdown in military ties with its former colony amid a wave of anti-French sentiment in the region. Pickup trucks and armored personnel carriers laden with French troops drove through the dusty outskirts of the capital Niamey on October 10th. Another French military convoy is scheduled to leave Niger for Chad by end of October, marking the halfway point of the promised withdrawal of the 1,450 French troops based in the West African nation. The commander of France's forces in the Sahel said that 1,500 French soldiers would leave Niger by December 31st, a time frame announced by French President Emmanuel Macron late last month.
We have 282 French soldiers who have left. There are major movements that are going to take place in the next few days, so in a week's time, we'll be almost half disengaged. But the big logistical flows will really start next week, because obviously you can imagine that to get 1,500 people out, there are all the preparation operations, setting up the containers and so on. There are 2,500 to get out roughly.
We're calling on the population precisely not to, behave. I wouldn't say irresponsibly, but to stir up hatred. Today we've worked together for years. We asked for them to leave, so we'd like everything to go very, very well, for them to be able to return to Chad.
The first French road convoy of troops withdrawing from Niger arrived in neighboring Chad's capital, N'Djamena, after 10 days on the road. From Chad, French troops can leave by air with their most sensitive equipment. However, most will have to be moved by land and sea. Bureau reports, WION, World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.